Hello students, we are going to continue with the same lesson, that is the third lesson of history which we have started in the last lecture also. That is the ruling the rural areas. Okay, ruling the rural areas. So we have learned in the previous chapter that what was the condition it was there about the villages in our country before the advent of Britishers. So the villages were really very self-sufficient. All their needs they used to fulfill in that village areas only. They used to pay the taxes or that revenue to the king of their total production. The little bit amount they used to pay to the king in the form of a revenue. After the Battle of Buxar, the Britishers actually got the control over that particular areas, that being Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, and they started to collect the revenues with the traditional methods only. But afterwards they felt that the revenue collection should be increased, as they required the money for so many purposes, okay, which we have learned also. Then they introduced the three new tax collection systems. Before that, the Izardari system, it was introduced by the Lord Cornwallis. Okay. Then the three new systems they introduced, that were the permanent system, then the Maharwari system, and the Rajwari system. Okay. So these were that introduced by Britishers. The permanent system we have learned in the previous chapter, that is also previous lecture, that is also called as a Zamindari Bandobast. Okay. Now in this lecture we are going to learn about the Rajwari system by Thomas Munro in 1820. Okay. So we are going to see in a detail, that is how that system it was. So the Rajwari system introduced by Thomas Munro in the areas of Bombay and Madras. The provinces Bombay and Madras were related with this Rajwari system. The revenue was directly collected from the Rath or the cultivators. Okay. The Rath was the owner, as they used to cultivate the land. Okay. They were the owner and they used to pay the tax directly to the government. Means there was no any mediator. Just like that in the permanent system, the zamindars or the landlords were the mediators. They used to collect the tax on the behalf of the British government. But here, the peasants directly or that cultivators directly used to pay the taxes to the government. The land servant, for the purpose of that the revenue fixation, the land it was servant and then only the revenue was fixed. It was roughly half of the total production of the farming. Okay, that is what near about 55% that the revenue was collected from that total production, and was collected on a very strict manner. Means they were that collection of a tax was very rigid. It applied all over the South India. The rent condition was not better than the peasants of the zamindari system. Means the whatever the condition it was there about of the peasants in the zamindari system, the little bit same condition it was there of the rents in this condition, in this system also. Then only the different it was what the rent used to pay the taxes directly to the government. As the rents failed to pay the high revenue, they fled to the cities. So that is how the Rajwari system. Now we are moving towards our next point, that is the Maharwari system by Holt Mackenzie in 1822. So it was introduced by Holt Mackenzie in Punjab, parts of UP and central India. Mahal means what? Mahal means a revenue estate and may include a village or a group of villages. So that is what Mahal. So land was inspected first and measured by the company officers. The revenue of each plot of a village was added to the revenue of each Mahal. Means they used to collect it in a collective form or a manner. The talukdar or the head of village used to collect the revenue. So the talukdar or the head of the village used to collect the revenue in Mahalwari system. The rate of revenue was roughly half of the total agricultural produce. So the same it was there. So what was the effect? What was the effect of these systems on the peasants? The first effect was due to the bad revenue policy. So it was a very worst revenue policy of the British, and also the regular famine also occurred in that areas. The farmers became poor and they forced to sell their land. So in this way the farmers became landless. Second, zamindars also neglected the farmers' plight. Means zamindars were also not interested for that farmers' plight or whatever the farmers' bad condition it was there. They were concentrated only on their profits. And the third, there were frequent agrarian revolts because the farmers were not so happy and they were exploited. So the revolts happened on a regular. 4 number, the farmers took the loans from the moneylenders. Okay, as the revenue was very high and they had to pay that revenue on time. So for this purpose, they used to took the loan from the moneylenders. For the revenue and household expenses, manages, then that all the things they used to manage, and against that on a very high interest. So the moneylenders applied a very high interest rate on these loans. 5 number, but most of the times they failed to repay it as they were really very poor. So they were failed to repay that loans on time, and so because of that they lost their properties to the rich farmers and the moneylenders. So this was what the effect on the farmers. Then the next point we are going to see, that is the cultivation of cash crops. Okay, the cultivation of cash crops. So because of the industrial revolution, we know that the industrial revolution happened in the England. So the industrial revolution in England, demand increased for cash crops such as tea, coffee, indigo, jute, sugarcane, etc. These crops grown on the lands owned by the Europeans, and these Europeans were called as a plantation, or sorry, these lands were called as a plantation areas. Tea plantations were set up in the Assam, Bengal and Kerala. Indigo, poppy and jute in Bengal and Bihar. The planters, means these Europeans, hired the tribals and the landless laborers to work for very less salaries. Okay, so here also these planters used to exploit these laborers. Due to this practice, the food grain production, means they used to take the more and more cash crops. Okay, so the food grain production started to decline and the shortage of food supply occurred in the country. So this is what the cultivation of cash crops. Now we are turning towards the one of that cash crops, that is the indigo. So indigo is a natural dye and used for coloring cloth in India. So also it was exported for the same use in the English textile industry. As the production of cotton increased in England, the demand for indigo also increased. So the British government encouraged the indigo plantations in Bengal. This indigo trading was very much profitable, and due to that, so many Europeans came India to become the planters, as they wanted to earn more and more. Okay, so this is how we have completed about the indigo. So here we are going to stop. The remaining part we'll see in the next lecture. Thank you.